Right, good day everybody and welcome to the channel. I hope you're having a great day. So I've got a little bit of a dilemma. I don't know whether to, regarding camera systems for a motorcycle, I don't know whether to full on go with the GoPro system, kind of how I'm using now, or go to the Sony system. I also use a Sony X1000V on the side of my helmet, but there's a lot of things lately that are really starting to piss me off about that camera. So firstly, on that camera, accessory wise, there is not a lot for it for the X1000V. I wanted a case for it because the whole camera is completely open, and I just wanted to make sure it's a little bit more protected, especially with the lens. But the case that you get with it, it is absolutely massive. So it makes the whole thing almost twice the size, which pissed me off a little bit. Another thing is the recording modes. 1080p 60 frames a second on the Sony is nowhere as good as 1080p and 60 frames a second on the GoPro. And when I say good, I mean at 60 frames, when you go into slow motion, you can slow everything down and it's still nice and smooth, whereas on the Sony it seems to be a little bit jerky when you do that, which is overly annoying. But the 4K on the Sony is amazing. Everything is so crisp and sharp, and that outperforms 4K on the GoPro 4 completely. But it's just one of them. I've not been shooting in 4K a lot, and the times I do shoot in 4K, I'm not so fussed about it. Side mount on the helmet again, that bothered me a little bit before because I don't like having the helmet in view, but I've shown you how I get rid of that. Which again, it doesn't really bother me. It's just one step extra I've got to do when editing. Obviously, if I have the GoPro on the side of the helmet, that's going to stick right out and just look fucking stupid. So the other thing that kind of gets me as well is the recording options as well. You get 1080p, then it shoots through from 1080p to 4K. There is no in between how there is on the GoPro. There's 2.7K on the GoPro, which I like using. I mean, I don't use it all the time, but if I'm planning on only doing a 1080p video, I like shooting at 2.7K because I can correct the storage, I can correct what I want, and still get nice 1080p out of it. The two biggest things for me on the Sony that really do piss me off is the metering. And if you're unsure what metering is on a camera doesn't really see colour. It can't tell you whether the sky is bright, whether there should be certain shadows everywhere else. So regardless of how much you spend on the camera, no camera can do that. All the camera does is tries to make everything middle grey. So when something's bright white, it tries to make it half of that. It just tries to make it grey. When something's too black, again, it tries to overexpose and make it grey. This is something that the GoPro does really well with. It manages to find a good balance in between, but the Sony does not. The Sony overexposes everything. I mean, absolutely everything is so bloody bright on it that I have to turn down the exposure on the camera, which again you're limited to, but I have to turn that down on the camera and then edit to try and make it look somewhat half decent, like it was daytime, rather than overexpose or the fact that I've tried to underexpose it. And like I say, the second biggest thing for me on the Sony, which pissed me off, and it was the main reason I bought the Sony, was the mic input. See, with GoPro, I've had a bit of an issue with the mic adapter. GoPro's currently sorting that out for me. But with Sony, you don't need a mic adapter, you can plug the mic straight into it. Anyway, initially I had a cheap microphone and it wasn't working out well at all. So I upgraded to this Rode SmartLav Plus, which is bloody amazing. So therefore, professional microphone going into a semi-professional action camera, or if you want to call it professional, I don't know. It should have been brilliant, but the Sony makes everything so fucking loud. It just destroys the audio, and it doesn't make use of the fact that I'm using a great mic. It's just bloody annoying. So I thought for this next week or two, I'll just use the GoPros rather than the Sony, see if I can get used to just using them rather than using the Sony, seeing as pretty much any time I'm going to do a motor vlog, it's plugged into an external recorder anyway. So I thought I'd try and get used to the GoPros again, see how I kind of do with them, rather than using the Sony. Other things that kind of piss me off about the Sony, The nighttime footage outperforms the GoPro immensely. It is so much better than the GoPro. Cleanliness, how it renders the colours and all that jazz. The other thing that it does, exactly the same as the GoPro, is when it gets too dark it bumps up the ISO. And I obviously have the camera at night time just in case anything happens, so the fact that I can get a number plate, and each time a couple of things has happened, I've gone to get the number plate off there and the 60 frames a second does not work, nowhere near as good as the GoPro nighttime footage for being able to get number plates. Oh bloody hell, bit of a squeeze. So yeah, there's loads of little niggly things that are pissing me off about the Sony, which shouldn't be pissing me off. I mean, all the reasons I bought it was because I didn't think I was going to have them issues. I mean, the quality is amazing, absolutely amazing on it, sharpness and detail. You do get a lot more than the GoPro, but here, as you can see with the GoPro, all this area that you're kind of looking at, which is obviously the main area you're going to see in a motovlog, is pin sharp on the GoPro. On the Sony it is not. It seems to be slightly soft or slightly out of focus, and that's because the Sony focuses around a metre to a metre and a half away rather than from kind of directly in front of it to infinity. So the GoPro does better on closer focusing than what the Sony does. The Sony, it seems to be more distant stuff is sharp, which again annoyed me slightly, but I kind of got over it. So yeah, there's loads of little niggly things that are just starting to annoy me about that camera. I mean, the editing process as well. I mean, you can do a little bit more with the GoPro on the lower settings, like I'm not using ProTune. ProTune makes file sizes massive. And it's something when you need to kind of match this footage to something else, or if you're going to do kind of a professional video. So I very rarely use the ProTune, and the Sony records at a higher bit rate in their lower setting than GoPro does in their ProTune setting, which is supposed to be better. Footage is generally better, colours are generally nicer. But again, there's just something about having super view on the GoPro what I really like, which I don't get on the Sony. So yeah, it was just starting to piss me off, and the kind of dilemma that I've got with it is that when I do my Euro trip, or if I go and do longer days out that I'm wanting to record, I have to obviously put a second battery into the Sony when it dies. With the GoPro I can have external batteries added onto it. The other thing is as well, I would like to have two cameras running most of the time. I've got that GoPro there and then this one here. The downside is with Sony, obviously I couldn't have that Sony mounted in front of me here without it just completely getting in the way. But yeah, as I was saying, there are times where I might be on a long day and I want to start and stop the recording as and when. But I want everything to stop and start together, so you kind of need a remote for that. And shit, I'm in the wrong lane. So yeah, you kind of need a remote for that. So obviously Sony does a remote, which is massive, and then the GoPro does a remote. But the thing is, obviously the GoPro is not going to work with the Sony, and the Sony is not going to work with the GoPro. So I'm trying to stick with one system over the other rather than kind of mixing them both together. And I don't know, I just want to, that's why I'm kind of using the GoPro now. I just want to see how I get on with it compared to how I was getting on with the Sony, and kind of weigh up the pros and cons for each. But yeah, so yeah, that's the idea anyway. And that was kind of the rant about this video. Do I stick with GoPro, already heavily invested into the system, or do I completely move over to Sony and invest in another Sony camera with their remote? So we'll see. Anyway, that was the rant for this video, and that was kind of the idea, and I hope that everyone can kind of help me along with it. Let me know whether you like this chin view, whether you prefer seeing like this, or whether you like the side shot or whatnot. Because I mean, obviously, whatever it is an expensive decision. If I stick with GoPro, then I only need to get a remote and a couple of batteries. If I move completely over to Sony, then I will be selling one of the GoPros. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you want to see any more of the videos, click on channel and click videos, and they're all there. Right, take care all, have a good day, and ride safe.